Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And, man, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. I know that I still got the stretchy pants on. Did a lot of eating. I will say that my wife's sad. The boys are gone. The dogs are sad because the boys are gone. But here's the good part. Christmas is just around the corner. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad, but one way or another, it's coming. I apologize. We had a few issues on Wednesday. The streaming computer that streams the broadcast decided it hated us that day. We've got it fixed. I apologize to the folks in Phoenix. They weren't able to pick up the show. I think Ramon played it for on the repeats on Thursday and Friday, I think. I'm not sure, but if you missed it, I do apologize. But stuff happens. But we got it all fixed and all ready to go. Right after, well, not after this show, but after the half-empty cup of Joe, I'm actually on my way to the airport, and I'll be doing shows the rest of the week live in Colorado. So if anyone up there on the Front Range wants to stop by, say hello, whatever it may be, I will be up in Colorado all week this week, starting tomorrow. Like I said, I'm literally going to get off the air and head right down to the airport. Speaking of Colorado, I'm joined, like I am all the time here, with my partner up in Colorado, Jason Walker. Jason, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and good morning.
Yeah, it was pretty good Thanksgiving, but yeah, I got a lot of rest. It's not often I take actually 4 days. Well, it was 3.5 days away from the radio station. There was a little bit of Saturday stuff going on, so I came in to help Rick Rodriguez a little bit with some stuff on Saturday. But other than that, it was a good 4 days off.
Yeah, and you spend some time with the family and do a lot of laying around. I will say, what wasn't a lot of? It didn't look like too many people were out there shopping over the holiday. I saw the retail numbers, and maybe it's the hey, everyone's going to be out of everything, and maybe some people got some shopping done a little earlier, but actual in-store, throw out last year because, everyone was locked down with COVID. Going back to 2019, in-store sales down almost 29%, and then online, this is the first time since shopping online became a thing, where Black Friday online sales year over year were actually down, Jason.
Wow, there you go. Well, it sounds like people are struggling to come up with the bucks, I guess, Joe.
Well, that is a big part of it. I know this. We last night, my wife and I, what were we doing? Oh, I know what we were doing. We had to buy some luggage because my boys took the carry-ons that we have, and my wife's like, we're out, because one of them that we had was past its time. It had broken, so we went to go buy a new carry-on for me to fly up there, and where we went to Target. And the Target near our house, you pass, like a lot of dealerships, we've got like this strip. And you've got Cadillac and Toyota and Chevrolet and Nissan. There's just one right after the other. Wow. There's a lot of empty parking lot in the car dealerships, Jason. I'm sure that didn't help with the retail sales either. I feel bad being a car salesman right now.
Maybe some of that propaganda of you will own nothing and be happy, maybe that's starting to set in a little bit too.
One of the dealerships was smart. He had cars in his parking lot. They were all used.
Well, yeah. They're thirsty for those used cars, aren't they?
I was like, well, I guess that beats the Cadillac parking lot. It was empty. I mean, empty. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting, and I will say this: luggage. Wow, has that gotten ridiculous? Just the carry on, we paid almost $100. That my wife is like, man, I've been, she's bought quite a bit of luggage in her day, and she's like, 2 years ago that was like $40, $50 max, and nothing on sale. That was the other thing, and at least in the luggage area, not one thing was on sale, and kind of interesting for the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy a lot of luggage myself. I'm more of a just throw it in a bag and walk off with it sort of guy. But everything's going up, Joe. Everything, and that's got to be part of the reason why their sales are down too. Is because, hey, I remember last year I bought some of this stuff and it wasn't quite that expensive. Maybe you have to stop and think about what you're going to actually buy and maybe pare your list down.
Yeah, it's been it was quite interesting. I will say that the stores were not very crowded. That was all my wife could talk about. My wife was a Black Friday. She was all into that, especially when the kids were younger. Not so much today, but she's just was going on and on about how there was nobody out there. And then think about this. How about the one day we take off and don't do a show? The new variant, real or fake, what a scare it put into the market. We'll talk about that when we get back. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Yes, Jason and I were off on Friday. Our offices were closed. The stations were closed. Even if we were doing a show like KXXT was closed, but we had the Dow down 900 points. At one point, it's down 1,000 points. Crude oil, man, it's been a long, long time since I saw anything like that in crude oil. I mean, crude oil went from like $80 to $68 in one trading day. Gold was up, and then it kind of finished flat. Right now, gold's exactly where it was when we left the air on Wednesday. So gold kind of stayed neutral here, Jason, as the latest new variant. This one out of South Africa got everybody worked up and travel restrictions and talk of lockdowns and all of this stuff again, Jason.
I think it spoke very good of gold because everything was down. Bitcoin was down. Equities was down. Everything was down, and gold was up about $8, or was it like $8? I think, right? So yeah, it's shows.
Well, yeah, at one point, yeah, gold got it back above 1,800, and then right before the close, they sold it down back to pretty much break even.
Yeah, but that was better than everything else that was selling off, Joe.
Yeah.
Major reason why to own gold, Joe. Major reason.
And this is just one of those things. And who knows? I don't know what's going to happen with this new variant. But this is really one of the things where we've worried about this all along because of the type of and I'll call it virus, the type of virus it is. It's constantly going to change. And some are going to be good changes, right? That are, hey, it changed and it's less transmittable. Maybe it doesn't make people as sick. Some of them can be bad changes. And in this one, they're worried on the bad side that it's going to spread easily. They've got these, they call them mutations, and is the vaccine going to work? And I kind of chuckle at the whole thing because, let's face it, as it is already, they're gearing up for everyone needs a booster shot. Now this thing comes around. Just another reason to keep the shot parade going, Jason.
Yeah, I think the next variant that's so-called is supposed to be doing damage or hurting people, Joe, will probably align with the next market crash. So I don't know if this will be the one, like Sanford and Son, the big one. I don't know if this is it. But when it comes, you better believe a variant's going to be damaging, or at least the news will report it.
This is the big one. I love that show. That was a great show. Fred Sanford, funny man. Boy, you imagine the cancel culture that would be around him today. It'd be incredible. But yeah, you're right, Jason. I think it's just a matter of, unfortunately, probably if it isn't this one, eventually it's going to be another one.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I saw a whole bunch of new materials. This is for the half-empty cup of Joe, but finding pink flying unicorns. This is the analogy the guy used when it comes to finding out what viruses are and variants and seeing how faulty the whole thing is and how fraudulent most of this is. But it's a really good way to point the finger at somebody else besides the Fed and bankers and corporations and the government when things go wrong, Joe.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where, I just couldn't imagine another round of lockdowns, another round of where, essentially, let's face it, this is going to be hurt business if this continues, if this thing, like this morning, it's now in Canada, still no cases here. And I know South Africa, and I think they're doing the right thing, saying, hey, it's no worse than Delta, right? It's no worse than what was already out there. Let's hope that continues, because I don't think we'll get a replay of the amount of government spending we had the last time. And quite honest, I don't know that we could afford it.
Well, Joe, I'd have to say, if I had to make a prediction, it's going to happen. It might happen multiple more times. So I guess people better get ready for it. Businesses, you better get ready for it. It's this is their new normal, Joe. They've said it many times.
Well, and I will say this: prices of everything. We talked about luggage. Well, there was this one piece. It was so funny. We brought two up to the checkout because just how things are. This one was sitting there. There was no price. We didn't know what it was. We brought it up to the checkout with the other one. And I just asked the lady hey, can you tell me how much this is? She scans it. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. My wife and I are just standing there. She scans it, and she just blurts out, "Oh, you don't want this." That is what she said. And she goes, "It's $189. And we're like, yeah, for one, a carry-on piece of luggage. No thanks. And we bought the other one, which was like $80-some. But it was pretty funny. The remark from the cashier at the Target about how expensive things are really starting to get out there. Over the weekend, General Mills came out and said, hey, starting in January, and they're saying mid-January. So General Mills, I want to say they raised prices twice last year, said starting mid-January, across what they're saying, items across their brands. They have, just to name a few, Progresso soup, Yoplait yogurt, fruit roll-ups. They have Betty Crocker and Pillsbury, Cheerios, Lucky Charms, Wheaties. Just to kind of name a few there, saying that they are going to raise prices yet again as they continue to say that all along the chain, Jason, they're facing higher and higher prices, 5.4% higher from the same time a year ago, and now they're saying get ready. Basic household items, they're anticipating to rise 8% in the first half of 2022. That is double what they did in the first half in price increases last year, Jason.
It feels like it's much more than 4 or 8%, doesn't it? I mean, maybe.
Well, listen, when you take 4 and then you add 8,
that's 12.
Right? Now that's 12, right? And of course, when you're dealing with percentages, it's actually more than that when you factor in, the prices going up. And they weren't the only ones out there. Jack in the Box, if you're a fast food aficionado, said that they are also suffering from huge cost increases across the chain, from labor to packaging material. They're going to be raising prices as well. And again, it just seems like it's never ending, Jason.
I don't think it'll end very soon. That's for sure, Joe. They're not taking the measures to fix the inherent problem, which is snowballing. For decades, really, but for definitely the last 15 years, it just gets worse since quantitative easing. And I through the rest of 2022, minimum, Joe, that these prices will keep going up.
Well, yeah, already, and that's kind of the problem, because you got to remember, these guys, especially big companies, I bought a piece of luggage yesterday because between the boys flying and me flying, and we had a piece of luggage break, and so I needed it, right? I had to have, I got to go buy one, and no one wants to spend a lot of money on luggage. And that's one thing. And as a consumer, that's kind of how we buy it as we need it. That's not how big companies work. General Mills, they bought all the stuff that they need for the first half of this year, right? For the first half of 2022. They already bought that. They bought that probably 6 months ago. And so what General Mills is now reacting to is, hey, this is the stuff. They're getting ready to buy stuff for like August of next year. That's my guess, right? August, maybe even December of next year, and saying, man, look at the prices. Let's raise prices now to compensate for what we know we're going to have to pay for things, 9 months from now. And that's really why, when Jason sits there and says, hey, listen, they're going to keep rising all through 2022. That's why. Because they're already, these big companies, they're already buying for 2022. And they're not buying for January or February. They're buying for the summer. They're buying for the fall, right? They're buying well ahead of time, and they're already signaling what it's going to be costing. So this is something where it's really simple to play out here on the inflation side of things. It's not coming to an end next year, Jason.
And think about this, Joe. If we do have some significant market crash, say in 2022, and let's say those prices suddenly snap back as the money supply goes down, you could be holding on to very expensive stuff, and you're selling it with a no margin anymore because, well, the price is just cratered on everything, Joe. So these things can be very, very damaging, and they can take a long time to fix themselves, or maybe they don't fix themselves, Joe.
Well, you look at oil. Look at oil. Right? What a prime example. Now, oil we know is supply demand, and of course, it fell on fears that everyone was going to lock back down again. But you see the velocity at what these things happen. And I want to point this out to everybody because there's a lot of people, and I'm talking to a lot of people. And again, we're so easily fooled, right?
Yes.
And they want, I don't know, Joe. I don't know if is housing going to crash or I don't think the the Arizona economy, it's going to be okay. And I say to them, I'm like, was it okay the last time? I mean, was it okay during the financial crisis? No. How about the housing crisis? It was one of the worst during the housing crisis. How about the dot-com crash, right? And people they want to believe what they want to believe. But the realities are, listen, I'm sitting there and we were talking about $100 oil. Heck, we are talking about people making bets about $180 to $200 oil. And seemingly out of nowhere, Oil went from $80 to $68 in a matter of, 8 hours? I mean, it'll happen just that fast. And when you've created so much money out there, the crashes, Jason, are that much more significant. That's really the problem is when it finally does give up. The size of the collapse is so much bigger, and that's why they always got to, think about it logically. This is why they always have to have a bigger bubble. And then when that bubble bursts, right, the crashes get worse, right? Think about the oil inflation shock of the 70s. That wasn't a lot of fun. The crash in '87, that wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. The .com crash, that was a little more painful. A lot of people out there, you remember, you had all those stocks that went to zero. Then the housing crash, then the financial crash. This next one's going to be even bigger than that. And that's what we got to be prepared for. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold's really just back to where it was on Wednesday, 1785. Pretty much unchanged. I think Kitco's got it down a few dollars because on Friday, I guess, gold finished at like 1790. Then silver. Silver's at 22.78, and I want to say it was 22.75 when we left the air on Wednesday. So gold and silver have kind of stood still while everything else kind of took a big step down. And part of that is, all the again, we talk about the amount of money we created, the margins, and why you have these oversized reactions, especially looking at crude oil. And again, let's just say if this thing was a little worse. So right now, the good news out of South Africa, at least what they're saying, is the cases are mild. Right, so far, the case now, they've had a huge explosion in the number. Now, I want to say they're north of 5,000 cases, and that's how quickly this thing is moving there. I know Canada this morning says they've got at least one, if not more, cases. Nothing here in the U.S., at least not yet. I'm sure it's here. That would just be my guess. But if this thing was worse, and all of a sudden they said, hey, this one's worse than Delta, which is what they were trying to pontificate on Friday, what would we be talking about today? Right? Would the Dow be down another 1,000, 3,000, 5,000? What if they were talking about another lockdown? Jason, it really, it's all of a sudden, if you really wanted to get rid of a lot of money, wouldn't that be a great way to do it?
Yes, it would. Any emergency works, and right now in the age of coronavirus, this is the one that they've put in front of us, no matter if it's real, not real, and it's just the narrative, Joe, and the fear makes people do irrational things, and you're right, you can see a 3,000-point drop in the markets. I mean, isn't that what we were seeing in 2020? 1,000-point drops, 2,000-point drops. You go up 1,000 points. It was crazy, and why do I get the feeling that was like a dress rehearsal?
Yeah, it was very interesting. The whole way through as we were watching. Well, at least I was watching how the markets were reacting to all of this. And I guess this is one way, right? If you want to get prices down, throw in a huge shock to the system. And like I said, remember, the last time we were willing to spend trillions, right? would we be willing to spend those trillions again? And my guess is we'd have something much different this time around. Remember the last time we did hey, we're going to pay you not to work. We're going to pay you more money not to work. I mean, I guess it could be. If we wanted to do it again, I guess we could. And then we could really have hyperinflation then. I couldn't imagine what would happen.
Well, you can imagine what the how bad. We've got some history, Joe. There are some economies, and there's been some worldwide emergencies throughout history, and things get really bad. You have the Depression, you have World War II, you have different countries with their economic experiments, and they don't have the world reserve currency, and so you got even in recent history, you see currencies collapsing for all sorts of different reasons. And you just got to go look at it. You got to go look at it and say, well. And you got to understand that it could happen here, and it absolutely these bad economic messes. It's almost likely that it's going to be coming here at some point, Joe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, as Jason said, I don't know if this is going to be the thing. I don't think so. I think that a lot of people are I don't want to say tired of it, but hey, eventually we're going to have to live with this thing one way or another, right? And it's going to be interesting. The only thing, could we see another push on mandates and forced vaccines? Likely. Bigger push to vaccinate kids? Likely. But I don't think we'll get the closings like we saw the last time around. And I don't think we're going to get the spending like the last time around. But I think what we're going to get is the collapse part of it, as Jason was talking about, because if you don't do those things, but yet you scared everybody half to death, right, then this is what you get, right? I mean, look at this weekend as an example. Any other time, we would be spending the show talking about where did the consumer go? I mean, think about in-store shopping down almost 30%. That's one thing. Okay, but what about online? Well, guess what? Online was down as well. Now, it wasn't down 30%. I think it was down a couple of percent. I mean, much smaller, but down nonetheless. And this would be something we'd be focusing on that and talking about is all of that extra money that went to the bottom 90% of people, is that extra money gone now? And if it is, and we're left with the higher prices, all of a sudden, Jason, what happened this weekend makes a lot of sense. And then you throw in, let's not forget, these smash and grabs, that's devastating. To retail. And I was in retail for a long time. I know a lot about this. 90% of the money made in retail happens right now. This is when they make their money. And if you go in and you loot and pick a place, I don't know, Louis Vuitton, right? Well, looting Louis Vuitton, you could steal about $100,000 to $200,000 worth of stuff in one store. Well, you just all of a sudden made sure that whole region now, right, of Louis Vuitton, they're not making any money this year. And are we going to see them close more stores because of it? Are they going to have to hire security to try to keep their product safe? Of course, all of that comes with a cost, right? Are they going to have to lock the doors and kind of buzz you in to get into these places? Because let's face it, how they're doing it, they're coming in with a mob and stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And it seems to be spreading. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting time for retail. It's not going to make things less expensive, I'll tell you that right now. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. So real quick, $20 gold, Libs and Saints. I've got a good supply of each $2,095 today, Jason. So really good price off the Thanksgiving holiday. Especially thinking about, man, just a little over a week ago, about 10 days ago, we were talking about $2,200. So $2,095 at 800-951-0592. And everything I'm seeing, I'm reading article after article. It doesn't matter, all across the country, Jason, everybody's talking about, I can't get any help. I schedule interviews and nobody shows up, and et cetera, et cetera. And again, I've said it all along. Listen, there's people willing to work. They're not going to work for 12 or 13 or 14. Heck, depending on the job, $15 an hour. That's not going to get it done. We talked retail. We talked about Jack in the Box saying, hey, listen, we've got to raise our prices because guess what? We can't get people to come to work for less than, $16, $18 an hour. And I think that's going to I think it's only going to get more expensive. We're talking about smash and grabs and what it's going to do to the retail stores. Right? You got to put that in there now. Before, if someone stole something, let's just, Macy's or Dillard's or what have you. Maybe they stole a purse. Or they stole a pair of shoes. Or they stole a polo sweatshirt. Right? Retail accounts for that. This is never been. They stole the whole store, right? They went in, and like Louis Vuitton, they just stole the whole store. Dillard's, they ran in and they went to the perfume and the jewelry cases with crowbars and sledgehammers and took it all. Right now, you're stealing, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. This has never been seen before. This is. Not only do they got to raise prices to combat that, but now the other problem too, Jason, let me tell you right now, if you're sitting there thinking about going to work there, wait a minute, you're going to pay me how much? And I got to worry about guys coming in with masks, stealing the whole store? No thanks. Now, it's going to cost them even more to find help. Yeah, I know. When does it end? Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. $20 Libs and Saints at $2,095 today. I'll get them up on the website as well at allamericangold.com. And I was just laughing because a lot of times in Arizona, I think we've got the market cornered on crappy drivers. Especially this time of year, all the snowbirds are in town, right? And I get it, everyone, and it just depends. Everyone drives differently depending on what part of the country you're in. And for most people, here in Arizona, we use the freeways. Everybody's on the freeways, and I know the posted speed limit is 55 miles an hour. Okay. Not even the cops drive 55 miles an hour. I mean, if you're driving 65, you need to be in the slow lane, right? Get over to the right, the left lanes. And we got 4 and 5 lanes. I mean, and I don't know how people don't figure this out. Listen, if you're going under 75 miles an hour, do not be in the left-hand lanes.
Yeah, Joey, that's actually the way the law works. The left lanes are they're called passing lanes, and the right lanes are called cruising lanes. So it doesn't matter if I'm going above the speed limit. So that guy behind me could just slow down. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get out of the way. Believe it or not, if you're going 65 and 55, and you think the other guy should go your speeding, that's actually against the law. You're supposed to get over in the cruising lane and let the passers pass you. So that's the way it works. If people would do that, it'd be a lot better.
It would be so much better. That's my PSA. It is It is kind of the one great thing I would say about coronavirus was how little traffic there was, now, unfortunately, and believe me, it's not even as bad as it used to be. Not even close. But it's the frustration. My frustration levels are. I probably need to relax a little bit.
I-25, Joe, is 4 times worse than it was before coronavirus. Way worse. It is. I-25 is functionally dysfunctional beyond what the dysfunction it was before. It came roaring back, and there's a massive amount of north and south traffic.
Well, that's all that growth up there.
That's right.
And of course, I'm going to be on the 25 today, so great. I'm not looking forward to that. I always complain to Jason. I'm like, man, your freeways stink up here compared to Arizona. That may be the one thing Arizona did really well is our freeways are pretty awesome compared to a lot of other places.
We have farmland, Joe. We have farmland, so we have these county roads, and you had to actually box it off so that you can actually grow things. But in the desert, you weren't growing stuff.
Right. There's little things like, we got to grow stuff and, feed the cattle and the livestock so everybody else in America can eat, other than that, those little things out there. But I know, kind of a weird show today. Took a left turn. But hey, it's live radio. You're never knowing what you're going to hear. Either way, we got a great gold special, $20 Linden Saints 2095. God bless everybody.